Today, Mike Johnson said that he is not losing control of the House, which is exactly what you say when you are losing control of the House. And that was made even clearer because another top Republican has quit on Donald Trump, has packed his bag, has taken his ball, and he's going away. This is a breaking story that is once again showing that everything is breaking in Donald Trump's White House. We are going to get into it all. We are going to get into how this latest Republican quitting on Trump is just another sign of things to come. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into this breaking story, I want to start with the context that's coloring it all, and it's something that's really going to make you smile. It is Donald Trump's latest polling numbers, and they are so bad.
What do Americans think about that first year so far? With us now, CNN Chief Data Analyst Harry Enton. So, how's he doing? What's the streak like right now?
Yeah, I would say the report card is negative. It's minus. It's no good. And how do we know this? Well, why don't we just talk about Trump's negative net approval rating? Every single day since March 12th, Trump has been in the red, negative. That is days in a row, 281. He has spent more time underwater than Jacques Cousteau, for goodness sake. The bottom line is this: the American people don't like what Trump's doing, and they haven't liked what Trump's doing for a long period of time.
281 days. So on what issues?
On what issues? All of them. All of them, all the key issues, because take a look here. Trump's negative approval rating. He's underwater across the board. Immigration, a key issue for him, underwater by 6 points. Foreign policy, which has been one of his better issues, underwater by 14 points. Trade and tariffs, of course, this has been a key component of Trump's presidency, underwater by 15 points. The economy, the reason Trump got elected to a second term, underwater by 16 points. And the Epstein case, which I think we'll be talking a lot about going into the latter part of this week, underwater by 29 points. Negative, 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 negative. It's just not any good for the President of the United States, regardless of what he says tonight.
Yeah, minus 29.
It's not good.
And then some of
It really doesn't get much worse than that. The only thing that could make Donald Trump's poll numbers worse is if we looked at the Republican skew in those poll numbers, which is also getting worse, mind you. Donald Trump is not losing support broadly. He's not just losing support. He's losing support within his own Republican Party. It's not just Democrats and independents dropping down at drastic rates that's hurting Donald Trump so deeply. It is also MAGA's opinion of him and MAGA's opinion of MAGA. I'm going to continue to bring up this poll because I view it as so important, but for the first time since Donald Trump was elected president, Republicans have a more positive view of traditional Republicans than MAGA Republicans. That is Donald Trump's grip on the party loosening, and maybe it's why there's so many bruises on his hand, because he can't hold on anymore. But this is the reality of Donald Trump's Republican Party coming apart at the seams, and very publicly, mind you, because they understand the only political salvation for many of them is to attack Donald Trump. This is a snowball that is forming that is only going to get bigger and more destructive, especially with comments like this from Mike Lawler about Mike Johnson.
Final product will have to be a compromise, and that's been my point from the start. Do the work,
right?
Do the bipartisan compromise, and frankly, Dana, this is important.
Yeah.
Both leaders have failed here because we don't have a bill on the floor, and Hakeem Jeffries is sticking with his 3 years or bust with no reforms.
Okay.
So it creates a real challenge to get something done.
But Hakeem Jeffries does not have the power to bring something to the floor, as you know.
With the discharge, yes, he does. With the discharge.
Right.
With the discharge.
I mean, but that's why you did it. I'm saying.
Donald Trump has created this political environment, and this is all his own doing, which makes it that much more delicious. When Republicans understand that the only way they can save themselves is to turn on Donald Trump. If they are going to succeed electorally, it is not holding on to Donald Trump anymore. And they are attached at the hip to him. This is the worst Congress we have ever seen. It is the least productive. It has been largely taken over in many instances by Democrats. Today is a great example. Another discharge petition, 218 signatures. that Leader Jeffries put forward for a vote on the ACA subsidies to extend them so 22 million people aren't kicked off their health care, Mike Johnson couldn't stand in the way of that. Same thing with the Epstein discharge petition. Couldn't stand in the way of that. So that's Mike Johnson. He has no control. Trump, no control. Congress, out of their hands. Republicans battling back against Trump in order to save themselves. And for those who know that this is the end, because this is the end for so many of them, really the best option is to do what they are doing right now, and that is calling it quits. Republican who voted to impeach Trump retiring from Congress. Representative Dan Newhouse, one of just 2 remaining House Republicans who voted to impeach Donald Trump in 2021 over the January 6th riot, said Wednesday he won't seek re-election to Congress next year. Why it matters. Newhouse joins a growing bloc of House Republicans fleeing for the exits ahead of what some in the party could expect will be a bruising 2026 midterm. He is also one of several Trump skeptic Republicans who are retiring or resigning, including Rep. Don Bacon and more recently Marjorie Taylor Greene. Rep. David Vallado of California, the only other sitting Republican to have voted for Trump's impeachment, has filed to run for re-election though. So Republicans are calling it quits. They are running for the exits. They know where this is going and they do not want to be a part of it. But what broader story does this color for Donald Trump? Well, to me, it is Republicans much more afraid of the general election than they are of primaries, and also Republicans looking towards the future, a future that will not include Donald Trump, and that is what Thomas Massie said to his colleagues, that you have to start thinking past 2026. And even 2028, Donald Trump is already a lame duck. And while I never like to give her credit, and y'all know this, Marjorie Taylor Greene continues to repeat that beautiful fact that Donald Trump has already lost his power. But why does this matter? Why does another Republican deciding that they are going to retire matter? Because it is another opportunity for there to be a primary in which Republicans have to debate what their future is. Extremism and commitment to Trump, or still extremism, but the more traditional Republican. I bring up that poll again. More Republicans want the quote-unquote traditional Republican. Still a bigot, still a homophobe, likely pro-war, bought out by the Israel lobby, bought out by the oil lobby, bought out by the crypto lobby, but a more traditional Republican, as they would call it. That infighting, it's getting bad. It's not just getting bad within the MAGA electorate, but also in the MAGA media. Right, Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes, and there have been several resignations at the Heritage Foundation because of it, because of infighting within that think tank. They wrote Project 2025. They wrote Donald Trump's administration. They gave him the keys, and now they cannot run their own course. That is how bad the MAGA infighting has gotten. So one more primary is one more fight with more money spent, different ideological sides of this party ripping itself apart. It is no longer the case that you stand up, you plant a flag of I love Donald Trump, and you get the sign off and you go ahead. They have to have real conversations about how the Republican Party is going to look going forward. So do Democrats. Let's be real. Do we want a party controlled by the Israel lobby? No. Do we want a party bought out by crypto and AI and oligarchs? Absolutely not. Should we be taking corporate PAC money? Of course not. Do we want real fighters instead of people who are going to get caught up in the norms? No. But we are having those conversations, and we're not ripping each other apart doing so. That is what the Republican Party is doing. A deep strain has been caused by people who still think that Donald Trump will be there come 2028, and it's not going to happen. And not only that, but in thinking so, in giving that to Donald Trump, and deciding that they're going to want to hold on to the hope of a third term, which is illegal and never coming, and Trump probably doesn't even want to run for it at this point because he understands how unpopular he is. When they hold on to that, they're also holding on to the stink of Donald Trump. They're not letting it go. And what in this moment could be more damaging than attaching yourself to the most unpopular president in history? Not a lot more. So that's what we're seeing out of MAGA. And this quit, this retirement, this announcement, just another example. And another example of why we have to keep hitting them so hard like Jim McGovern did right here.
Mr. Speaker, let's be honest about what's happening here, because this really is not that complicated, and the American people aren't stupid. This Republican bill does not fix the health care crisis facing this country. It doesn't even try. And instead, Republicans are going to raise costs, weaken coverage, and deliberately allow the Affordable Care Act tax credits to expire, knowing full well that millions of families will lose affordable coverage as a result. That outcome is not a side effect. It's the point. For more than a decade, Republicans have promised a better health care system, a replacement for the ACA, something, anything that would justify taking coverage away from people who need it. 10 years later, there is still no plan, no replacement, no solution. And why? Because they are totally fine with a system of the haves and have-nots. They want a system where those at the top have affordable care and everyone else is left in the dust. Republicans have controlled the House of Representatives for 3 long years, and during that time, the priorities of this majority have been crystal clear. When billionaires, CEOs, and corporate special interests need something, Republicans move with lightning speed. Tax breaks for the rich and powerful pass overnight. Loopholes appear out of nowhere. Regulations vanish into thin air while big oil, big tech, big banks and get whatever they want. Republicans have no problem handing out massive tax giveaways to donors who write big campaign checks, no problem padding the profits of greedy corporations, no problem voting to give the Pentagon $8 billion more than it even asked for without so much as a shrug. But when it comes to working people, when they need affordable health care, suddenly the story changes. Suddenly there is hand-wringing. Suddenly there is paralysis. Suddenly the money is gone. Suddenly America can't pay for it. My friends, if you're okay with that, we do not share the same values. If you think it's fine to give handouts to billionaires while stealing health care from regular people, we do not have the same moral compass. Because the bottom line is this country has a Republican Congress that works just fine for the rich and powerful while telling everybody else to tighten their belts. There is always money for giveaways to CEOs and corporate stock buybacks. There is always money for billionaire tax shelters. But when a working family needs help staying insured, Republicans say it's too expensive. So this is a question of our priorities as a nation. What makes this even more infuriating is that Democrats have already put forward a responsible and reasonable solution that would help stop this crisis in its tracks. We have 218 people who have signed this discharge petition. 4 Republicans signed this discharge petition, and I hope that they will vote to bring this same bill up today. And to the moderates who didn't get the opportunity to sign it, I say this. This is your chance to get on record and show your constituents that you're serious about getting this done.
We have a great message. We have the right message. Let's deliver it. We are certainly going to every single day on this show, and especially on Well Dressed Wednesday. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. Stay classy, San Diego. And until next time, I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I'll see you soon.